Blue Tidal. About 5 years ago, I lived downtown of a major city in the US. I've always been a night person, so I would often find myself bored after my roommate, who was decidedly not a night person, went to sleep. To pass the time, I would go for long walks and spend the time thinking. I spent 4 years like that, walking alone, at night, and never once did I have a reason to feel afraid. I even used to joke with my roommate saying that even the drug dealers in that city were polite, but all of that changed in just a few minutes one evening. It was a Wednesday, somewhere between 1 or 2 in the morning, and I was walking near the police patrolled park quite a ways from my apartment. It was a quiet night, even for a weeknight, with very little traffic and almost no one on foot. The park, as it was most nights, was completely empty. I turned down a short side street in order to loop back to my apartment when I first noticed him. At the far end of the street, on my side, was a silhouette of a man dancing. It was a strange dance, similar to the waltz, but he finished each box with an odd forward stride. I guess you can say he was dance walking, headed straight for me. Deciding he was probably drunk, I stepped as close as I could to the road to give him, the majority of the sidewalk to pass by me. The closer he got, the more I realized how gracefully he was moving. He was very tall and lanky and wearing an old suit. He danced closer still until I couldn't make out his face. His eyes were open, wide, and wild. Head tilted back slightly, looking off into the sky. His mouth was formed in a painfully wide cartoon of a smile. Between the eyes and the smile, I decided to cross the street before he danced any closer. I took my eyes off him to cross the empty street. As I reached the other side, glanced back, and then stopped dead in my tracks. He had stopped dancing and was standing on one foot in the street, perfectly parallel to me. He was facing me but still looking skyward, smile still wide on his lips. I was completely and utterly unnerved by this. I started walking again, but kept my eyes on the man. He didn't move. Once I had put about half a block between us, I turned away from him for a moment to watch the sidewalk in front of me. The street and the sidewalk ahead of me were completely empty. Still unnerved, I looked back to where he had been standing, to find him gone. For the briefest of moments, I felt relieved until I noticed him. He had crossed the street and was now slightly crouched down. I couldn't tell for sure due to the distance and the shadows, but I was certain he was facing me. I had looked away from him for no more than 10 seconds, so it was clear he had moved fast. I was so shocked that I stood there for some time staring at him, and then he started moving towards me again. He took giant, exaggerated tiptoe steps as if he were a cartoon character sneaking up on someone, except he was moving very, very quickly. Now at this point, I'd like to say I ran away or pulled out my pepper spray or my cell phone or anything at all, but I didn't. I just stood there, completely frozen, as the smiling man crept toward me. And then he stopped again, about a car's length away from me, still smiling. His smile, still looking to the sky. When I finally found my voice, I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. What I meant to say was, "What the hell do you want?" in an angry, commanding tone. What came out was a whimper. What the hell? Regardless whether or not humans can smell fear, they can certainly hear it. I heard it in my own voice, and that only made me more afraid. But he didn't react at all. He just stood there, smiling. And then, after what I felt like was forever, he turned around, very slowly, and then started dance walking away. Just like that. Not wanting to turn my back to him again, I just watched him go until he was far enough away to almost be out of sight. And then I realized something. He wasn't moving away anymore, nor was he dancing. I watched in horror as the distant shape of him grew larger and larger. He was coming back my way, and this time he was running. I ran too. I ran until I was off the side road, back onto the better road with sparse traffic. Looking behind me then, he was nowhere, to be found nowhere. The rest of the way home, I kept glancing over my shoulder, always expecting to see his stupid smile, but he was never there. I lived in that city for 6 months after that night, and I never went for another walk. There was something about his face that always haunted me. He didn't look drunk, he didn't look high, he looked completely and utterly insane. And that's a very, very scary thing to see. Thank you for sticking around to the end. If you like that, go ahead and subscribe, turn on the notification button so you can see whenever I come out with new scary material. If you have any stories that you want me to read off, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to go and read them off for you. Leave any comments on any observations that you made. Again, it's your boy Okina. Thanks for listening.